Hi, everybody. See, I'm going on. As soon as I go on, I get a phone call. It's super busy, and I had to come on earlier today because, a lot of important things are happening, and we wanted to. Hold on, hold on. That's our life. It is so fast. It's so fast. Let me make sure. Okay, so make sure that I'm on live. Great. Sure everything's turned down. Okay, so this is really important to get on this early. And I have some notes here that I wanted to address. I was just watching, we were just watching, listening to, while we were doing some errands, Owen Shroyer. And Owen Shroyer works for InfoWars, and he was swatted. He was swatted. And and this has been happening quite a bit, where people are swatted. It's like an intimidation tactic, because we know at this time, and we are at 1,696 days since Richard was targeted, retaliated, murdered, and the whole cover up, unalived. I don't even know if I'm allowed to say everything, because they want to control everything, and they're not. They're not, and that's the good news. And that's why we decided to come on earlier, because they are absolutely using the lowest type of tactics to intimidate, to threat those that dare to tell the truth, that not only to tell the truth, but to take action, to take legal action, to gather up the evidence, to document the evidence. And what is the evidence of their crimes? To document their crimes and to file them, to piece together the criminal syndicate that they are. And it is a domestic terrorist group, absolutely. And we know that the front door of that is El Paso. And we wanted to let Owen Shroyer know, and we wanted to corroborate Owen Shroyer's discussion today, his testimony, his testimony on what happened when he was swatted, because we were also targeted. Do not forget that they searched our house without a warrant, and they were in full battle gear. They were in full battle gear, came to our house and searched our home without a warrant. What people might not know is the all the other threats, intimidation, harassment, even false police reports that we have been put through. And so we want to corroborate what Owen Shroyer is saying. We want to say what he is saying is absolutely true, what is going on. And it needs to be investigated. We won't put up with this anymore. We are absolutely supporters of America, right? America. Make America great again. We are patriots. Even even living most of the time overseas because of our service overseas, even overseas, we absolutely were patriots to the United States, so much so that even all the convincing that I could do to keep Richard from joining the military at the time that he he did, because we saw the dangers, we knew the dangers, um, of the leadership, okay? And I'm talking about military leadership. What was going on in the military leadership? We saw what was going on, the attacks on our schools, on our children, on our minds, and on our economics. And we tried to convince him not to join the military at the time, but because we're such a patriotic family, we feel like it's a duty. It's a duty to be patriotic, to serve our country. And he joined. So, and of course, Rob, 30 years, my dad, 23 years. We have, um, whole family history, about 80 years of combined service, just in our three generations. So, that is not up for question. And the problem that we have is that there are those that are not patriotic, that are working for foreign entities, with absolutely, they're up to no good. They're up to no good for our country. And they have weaponized our system. Richard's retaliation and death was a systematic death. This was, and this whole thing with Owen Shroyer is shows us that this is using the system, weaponizing the system, and without a warrant. So this is showing that even the judges are not doing what they're supposed to be doing. And I mean, without a warrant, you can say, well, then judges weren't involved, but you see the politicalization of judges. You see that they are absolutely out of control when you are trying to take people out of the country that are not legally in the country. And I can absolutely say that because my mother had to legally enter the country, and become a citizen of the country. My grandparents absolutely had to do that also. My son-in-law absolutely also. When we adopted the children, we absolutely had to go through all the legal hoops to adopt them, so that they could be legally in the country, legally a citizen, because that is the way a country runs. You run by a rule of law. And if you're in this country and you have not followed the rule of law, then you are already a criminal. And then it's very easy to compromise criminals to do even more crime. And you see this in El Paso. You have the likes of the chief medical examiner. I think he's a great example because he came in this country illegally, was given a prime job, 400 and what, over $430,000 a year, right? That is paid to him by El Paso County um, taxpayers, and was approved by Veronica Escobar. Veronica Escobar brought him in, the representative that has denied any kind of congressional hearings on these crimes that need a congressional hearing against whistleblowers, against the United States Army soldier whistleblower, and also all of the other weaponizations and illegal activities and unauthorized activities, and you know uh, you name it. El Paso is the front door to this criminal activity and is the epicenter of this corroborating what Owen Shroyer has just went through, what they're going through with others. And of course, what Richard went through. You see that in the Walmart mass shooting. You see that um, in the federal courthouse there. You see that in the magistrate court there, that has been weaponized, and the DA's office. So this all corroborates, and our family can corroborate the threats, the false police reports, the searches without a warrant, because we've been put through that. And we've also been put through months and months of harassment, threats, um, uh, just intimidation tactics, where they harass you with privacy information. For example, like from Richard's adoption papers, like from his service, they knew things my mom didn't even know. They will dig back into my husband's whole military history. And how we've been able to survive is because Richard was sparkling clean, our family's sparkling clean, and my husband's sparkling service record, absolutely sparkling, and and honorable, so honorable. He's highly decorated. And so how they get this information is because they have access. Exactly what Judge Roger Rodriguez was saying in his report, his whistleblower report, in his official capacity that went out on January 2022, that they have whitewashed, that they have targeted him and retaliated against him, um, in these same tactics. And uh, you know, the the reason why we're a little bit different is because we found out how to trace these phone numbers, these burner phones. We found out how to do it, and we did it. And it led to the government. It led to, men in suits, women in suits. Uh, that's where it led to. It led to things that you didn't expect, and to addresses you didn't expect. Okay, that were seats of government, and talk about being jaw drop, because we were thinking they would all be around El Paso area. No, that's not how it happened. This was absolutely an intelligence agency that was harassing us, that had access to our information, that used that to threaten us, to intimidate us, and of course, the search without a warrant, and of course, the false police reports that they do to intimidate you even further. And, it's just horrendous that our what we fund, because this is the irony of the whole thing. We fund this, right? The people that are Americana, the people that are patriots, the people that work hard, that have been targeted, that have fought to increase their wages in this a very anti-increased wage for the middle class atmosphere, that have fought very hard to stay out of debt, or they're in debt and they're still fighting hard to pay everything off legitimately, and they're absolutely for this country. And you can see the magnitude of them because President Trump won. President Trump won this second term, and he did it with the majority and all 7 swing states. And this is under the assault of Representative Veronica Escobar. How can I say that? Because she held the $1 billion purse strings for the Kamala Harris campaign. And she absolutely is up to no good, right? She's up to no good. She's the one that brought in Mario Raskin Ortiz. Illegal into this country, absolutely ignoring the Texas Constitution, that a medical examiner, which is part of the judicial system, it's like the judges, right? Because the medical examiner judges the cause and manner of death and has to testify in court for that. So this is why it's such a high paying job, because you have to have a legal experience and you have to have medical experience, right? You have to have this kind of education. And this is why it's such a high paying job. And she gets an operative in there that's illegal, that's connected to Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia, uh, uh, a false witness in our case, who targeted us, who targeted Judge Roger Rodriguez. Um, and they are like what's happening to Owen Shroyer. Um, and they use this, and then they use the media to write these false stories. And of course, Bob Moore of El Paso Matters, because of his absolute humongous backer or contributor or owner of El Paso Matters, which is El Paso Community Foundation, which is absolutely up to no good, right? They give all the perception that they are up to good without any without any of it. They might donate here or give a grant here or whatever to give this perception, but they're absolutely up to no good in that. And they're absolutely have the funding behind them to create something like El Paso Matters with Bob Moore, and to give out false stories. And they absolutely put out false stories about our son, Richard, about this case. And now, on January 24th, 2025, just 4 days after the swearing in of President Trump, we received a renewed DD 1300, which is the casualty death paperwork. I don't have it in front of me. I'm doing everything by memory here. And on that paperwork, they had to change the previous April 24th, 2024. This is now January 24, 2025, where they had to say Richard was found in the line of duty upon his death. Okay? That, yes. And there's more. And they absolutely had to change everything, because Richard was a whistleblower, and he was doing his duty by calling out the criminal activity on Fort Bliss. And when in that duty of calling out, see something, say something, he was targeted and attacked and lost his life in the line of duty. So this is very, very important for people to know what we have been up against, the absolute magnificent for what we've accomplished. What we've accomplished is only from God, only from God. And now what's coming out with the White House, and what Owen Shroyer is saying, and we are absolutely backing him up on this. We will not tolerate lip service. We want accountability. We want action. And we will not tolerate this lip service anymore from any politician. That the Congress absolutely needs to hold these congressional hearings. They absolutely need to, if we can trace the numbers of the burner phones, 5 of them, right? If we can trace those numbers, then our intelligence agencies and our law enforcement agencies can do it too. If we can put together these puzzle pieces like they asked us to do at the beginning, saying we had to investigate our own son's case, then they can do it too. And there is no excuse for this administration with FBI Director Kash Patel. He knows it. He knows what's going on, and he knows the weaponization of the institutions, and we are absolutely corroborating what he is doing, cleaning house. And the same thing with Dan Bongino. And the same thing with Pam Bondi of the Department of Justice. They need to have our full support to not do lip service in this political, media, whatever, laughing at the domestic terrorists, right? Some of these left side people that have absolutely profited off of all of this corruption. And how deep does it go, right? They don't want to know, are absolutely putting forth this media stream because they have this weaponization of the media also. And that's why Bob Moore and his story is absolutely false, because you did not see him reaching out in January 24, 2025, when we had this new status that absolutely will redo the whole military. Because if Richard was doing his duty, which he was, whistleblowing, not under orders, formal orders, but because of the creed, because of the ethos, the Medal of Honor ethos, right? That every soldier should have, that he absolutely knew. He's doing his duty, and he met up with violence on Fort Bliss, and he lost his life. So he calling out the criminal trafficking, child trafficking, that was going on Fort Bliss, that's tied to cartel, that's tied to the cartel, that's tied to the Sinaloa cartel, which are now also, so this is domestic, okay? This is domestic. This is foreign and domestic enemies. And that's why they had to absolutely rephrase the DD 1300 to say he, in the line of duty, meeting up with these domestic terrorists on our military base, lost his life. This is very, very important for everyone to understand. And this goes over to the next thing that they are focusing on, and that is defunding these masquerading charities. These masquerading charities that they are imposters. Like the first thing they did in our case was to impersonate us, right? They wanted to impersonate us. They wanted to impersonate a charity. They wanted to impersonate a charitable person. Oh, we just want to help you. They want to impersonate. They are impersonators. They masquerade just like these individuals that are on the MAG court. They're impersonators. They have no authority. They have to be elected. They're not elected. And they go and give search warrants and arrest warrants, and they magistrated Patrick Crucius, and that was unlawful. And they can absolutely turn and twist every case because of all of their unauthorized weaponization of unauthorized authority. I hope that makes sense. And and we've uncovered all of this. We have documented it. We have submitted it, filed it. We have, I can't even tell you how many. It's just incredible. Thousands, robust amount of evidence. So I'm not coming on just shooting from the hip. I'm coming on with over 4 years of documented evidence to corroborate what Owen Shroyer has said, to say that we have been put through it also, that this is a domestic criminal entity. They call it, and I don't even know if I'm allowed to say the T word, right? I already said it. They're probably going to shadow ban me. But this is so important, because if they do it to, look, they did it to Danae Katzen. Danae Katzen is one of them. Look what they did. You think KTSM and FitFam El Paso would have covered their stories and threw them under the bus if they hadn't somehow confessed to something, didn't do what they wanted, because they were part of them. Jonathan Ambrose is he's a West Pointer. Jonathan Ambrose is a very skilled individual, very computer skilled individual. This is Danae Katzen's husband, the very credit card girl that targeted us. These are not just these simple thieves that they want to make it out to be in the media. These are systematic, part of the system of intimidation, harassment, threats, crime, connected to the domestic criminal entity that's connected to the cartel. And, so this is all part of a system. And if they will do this to patriots, and if they did this to Jonathan Ambrose, who was part of 14380A, right? Which were up to no good, with Dallas Hart, with CID agent Tavita Nusa, with Leilani Hart, which Leilani Hart has everything documented that she should be arrested yesterday, a week ago, a year ago, 4 years ago. She should have been arrested. And there's no excuse. But because they are, and they'll go and SWAT Owen Shroyer, they need to arrest Leilani Hart, because she's the one with the documented crime, right? And not just one crime, a whole history. She was committing crimes before Richard was even born. Her criminal history is intense. And there's a real question, because she admitted in the confession that she had notarized and filed with authorities that she was illegal in this country. Right? That she had a illegal problem in this country, that she came to this country with immigration problems, that she was not in this country legally. There's so many, and then the worst crimes against children, the worst types of crimes against children. And then her connection with Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia, her connection with Bliss Avenue, her connection then with the chief medical examiner, Mario Raskin Ortiz, her connection with Joe Spencer. Right? With Joe Spencer, her connection with Veronica Escobar, her connection with Bob Moore of El Paso Matters. So you've got this government representative, you've got the medical examiner, you've got the cartel group, you've got which is also Mendez, which are in the police department. You have the lawyers, Felix Valenzuela. Then you have who's part of this Mormon under common denominator, the Mormon common denominator, with all of this, which is very powerful. And yeah, wow, that also gives you the ability to travel back and forth through that border, because the temple is on the other side of the border. So you have these passes, and then you have the masquerading, let's go back to it, of these charities. And this is very well documented. This is what Ken Paxton, the Texas Attorney General, is fighting, is the Annunciation House, case where they're masquerading, and he is saying they're up to no good, the worst type of crimes against children, right? The worst type of crimes against the United States because of this migrant invasion, just not paying attention to the laws of our land. If you don't like the laws, then you need to work to get them changed, right? But you don't become lawless, right? And then you don't masquerade that you are part of a faith group that's all about being lawful, right? Being lawful and being lawless, right? Then you give all the perception in the media and to the public that while you're collecting all of these funds and charity donations and everything, you give this perception that you are something that you're not, something that you are not. Lawless. You are lawless, and you pretend to be lawful and humanitarian. And this is what President Trump, now what we're trying to corroborate, because we have evidence of this, we have documented evidence of this. And I think Casitas Hoffman is a good example, which is Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia, which is a long history. Uh, and so that's the Juarez side. And really early on, I documented all of these, like housing right over the border. And it was so scary, and I put up the maps for it. But we didn't just put it up. We investigated, because Richard, it is documented that he multiple times um, reported to Child Protective Services, that he was reporting to FBI Houston, which is the trafficking division. And it's very important that people understand the weaponization of our system that's being used against us, and we pay for it. We pay for it, which it needs to be defunded. If it's being weaponized against us, it needs to be defunded. And so that's what you're seeing President Trump doing, and we want to back him up and corroborate what he is doing. This whole what they're doing to Elon Musk is absolutely criminal, absolutely criminal. And it doesn't even matter if you agree, disagree, whatever. What they're doing is absolutely criminal, and it goes in the tactics that they used against Owen Shroyer, the tactics that they've used with us. And um and we are, and we're so happy. uh I wouldn't say happy. We are relieved to know that this is all coming out now. And what they did to Richard, you have to know they weaponized the system, our own military against him, the judicial system against him, the law enforcement against him, and not just against him, but against others that wanted to speak out. And they're just, we're not going to tolerate this. And we hope that we get your support, so that we can get accountability, so that this is not our future, right? So that this weaponization of, uh, of a system that we pay for, right? That's why it needs to be defunded. If it's used against us, we got to defund it, right? So this is very, very important. And we hope that we have your support. We're very grateful. And we will, this DD 1300, I hope that you read that. It's kind of long. I posted it up. It's a little bit long. Maybe I need to shorten it. But it's important for everyone to know the current position of of the DOD, the Department of Defense, when it comes to Richard's case. It's very important because the likes of Bob Moore, who's discredited, who uses the likes of criminals like Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia, like which is attached to the whole Walmart mass shooting case, and like Leilani Hart, to use these individuals, and Angela Kacherga to use these individuals to be up to no good, and with Joe Spencer, who is Patrick Crucius's always been on the federal side and the state side, collecting millions and millions of dollars while he is absolutely needs to be disbarred, absolutely criminal in all of this and connected to the Mormon denomination, um, and these masquerading charities like the Annunciation House that are up to no good, doing the worst type of crimes against children, hundreds of thousands of children through the intake center. It's all documented, and it's all a criminal operation. And they don't want to pay for their own criminal operation. They want to use our system, our bricks and mortar, our paid for weaponry and ammunition, our soldiers, our vehicles, our fuels to operate our contracts, our housing, our property, everything to operate their criminal organization. And yeah, I just had to come on, say that to back up Owen Shroyer. Thank you, everyone. God bless you. And I will be back late tonight.